It's one of the classic matchups in Central New York, and we haven't seen it in a couple of years. The Holy War brings its act to the Carrier Dome after a one-year hiatus. The Gaelic Knights and Brothers ready for battle again. Foundation, the Holy War. CBA and Bishop Ludden meeting for the 87th time here on Jim Boeheim Court. Back at the Carrier Dome, getting set for the 87th edition of the Holy War. CBA and Bishop Ludden meeting for the first time in 2 seasons here tonight. As we take a look at our starting lineups, brought to you as always by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Charlie Russo, the sophomore, the only guy coming back for Buddy Waklinski with significant playing experience. Other starters, Aaron Morgan, Kevin Bailey, Jake Foll, and Dylan Haynes, we mentioned in the Star Watch. For the Bishop Ludden Gaelic Knights, Matt Rogers, the senior quarterback of the offense, Daniel Kegler, and George mentioned him in the open. Kegler, underclassman captain, really leads the young guys and the go-to guy as a freshman last year. He will jump center with Dylan Haynes, giving up some size, giving up about 6 inches, and Haynes wins the opening tap, and we're underway. Two teams that used to play each other every single year, but now in different classifications because of school size. Missed each other last year, with the season also being shortened by the state. Just not enough time to get those games in as Russo takes some steps.
A little nervous there. Quick step.
So nice to see these two teams back together again. As I mentioned earlier tonight, one of the first games I did was a sectional championship between Bishop Ludden and the Christian Brothers Academy up at Manley Fieldhouse back in 2004. They play here at the Dome tonight. And really, George, that's what we've seen in this battle the last few years as Kegler tries to follow, missed the layup. Second chance he scored, but playing on neutral courts, these two teams.
Yeah. Nice job at Kegler, stayed with it. Boy, he's just got a basketball-looking body for a young kid, doesn't he? He's got that appearance. But, you know, you could talk all night probably about all the great battles they've had and the great players that have come out of both programs. It's just steeped in history and tradition, really. And 2 of the great players that came out of those programs are on the benches at their alma maters. Pat Donnelly for Bishop Ludden, Buddy Waklinski for CBA. They've been going after each other since grade school. Amazing. We just had Jerry Wilcox earlier, who's been, I don't even want to know, 30-some-odd years Jerry's been. He might even be near 40. And then you add Pat and you add Buddy. Man, those are 3 of the most long-standing coaches probably right now active. Yeah, Pat Donnelly, 25 years, 432 wins. There's Buddy Waklinski, class of 75 at CBA, 28 years, 396 victories. So he's approaching a milestone. And there's Pat Donnelly. Yeah. And 2 of the nicest guys. You know, you get them on the phone and you feel like you could just talk to them all day. You got to just turn them on and let them go, because they'll talk forever about their kids in the team. Kegler to the basket. Haynes blocked it, but a goaltend called. Like a close call there. Haynes wondering, but no arguments. And so Ludden out to the early 4-0 lead, trying to snap a 12-game losing streak in this series. That is surprising to me. When I heard that, I could hardly believe that's possible between these two teams. But talking about the last Ludden win, a memorable one, Greg Paulus's the final Holy War, his final game. He had 30 points in defeat. I remember that game. That was at Bishop Ludden. I think back in 2005. That game was where the gym was packed and they had to pipe it into the cafeteria, right, for the rest of the people? I believe so. Yep. Up and in, 2 plus the foul as Matt Rogers gets to the hoop. And Ludden out to the quick start. Henniger coming off, by the way, a strong game against JD. So, you know, you caught him in a hornet's nest. So maybe it wasn't a true measure of just how good CBA is. This game will tell. Well, I think, yeah, Buddy Waklinski's hoping that's not a true gauge of where they're at. And that one last touch by the Knights, so the brothers will have it. How about 3 fouls in the opening 2 minutes, picked up by Kevin Bailey of CBA. He's got to take a seat on the bench. He's not going to be around much longer. I've never seen it like this, I don't think. That's pretty quick. Alex Brunner taking his spot, the sophomore. And here's Brunner. Up top, Morgan.
They want to get it inside to Haynes.
Yeah, see what he can do. If you can pulse him up, I mean, he's got an advantage.
Front rim, rebound cleared by Zach Walzer, 6'4" freshman for Pat Donnelly. Kegler, offensive rebound, and he's fouled as he went up with it. They're going to give this one to Brunner, so that position.
He's fouled down below.
The foul.
But watch, Kegler works excellent on the boards. He's got springs, he's quick. And, you know, you see that Haynes blocks a shot at the end of it, and it's not going to count as a block because of the foul, but there's his presence. We said he had 8 against Henniger, so, you know, he's around. Just keep him in the paint, and he's going to intimidate a lot of shots.
One more for Kegler. 8-0 start for the Gaelic Knights.
You know, you get the feeling, though, CBA needs something good to happen to him soon.
How about playing a 7 o'clock game on a Sunday night? Haynes throws it away.
Well,
these kids know it's Sunday night. They got homework to do.
They don't care. I think, you know, if it was out of season and there was a gym open somewhere and there was a game going on, they'd be there playing. So that's not just the lure of coming to the Dome is such a big thing for them. And like we talked about a little last game, the fact that the sectional finals are going to be here this year, added incentive to want to get in here and, you know, get a feel for the place.
Stripped as Walzer went up with it. Brothers came down with it. A hard time getting an open look though. Nice feed inside from Haynes. Brunner couldn't finish, and back come the Knights. Rogers got himself free. Front rimmed it.
Right now, both teams a little rugged, a little sloppy, just not settled in yet. So, you know, I think once they square off a little bit and get comfortable, see a little better style of play. Good hands by Russo.
Save by Russo to save possession. Gets an open look for his teammate. And finally, Jake Full knocks down the jumper, and CBA's on the board. Now the steal at half court and a foul called. Rogers went down. Brunner picks up the steal. Rogers picks up the personal foul as well. First called against Bishop Ludden.
I noticed that shot of Pat Donnelly. He's getting a great shot there. You know? Him and Bucky look great. You wouldn't believe it. I just can't believe it. I'm the oldest of them all, but they've been around this long coaching. You know, it don't look any different to me.
Called Pat the other day at work. His other job is working at National Grid, and I said, I'm sure you guys over there are just as anxious as anybody to see it start snowing here. And he had a good laugh about that.
That's the plow guys. They don't have anything to do with plowing, do they?
Yeah, right.
Your plow guy is kind of anxious.
I guess as long as it's cold, they're all happy over the grid.
That's right. Just kick those furnaces on every 10 minutes, and they'll be happy.
Rogers finally finds a receiver. Tapped out of bounds off the brothers. CBA is going to play again Tuesday night at ESM. A busy stretch to open the year for the brothers. And they're going to find out what they've got right away. Three pretty strong programs they're opening up against.
You know, I was talking with Pat Donnelly, and he said, you know, they start like the 15th of November, and then they just opened up. They had to move that game to open up Friday night to help them. You know, they wanted to move it up so they would get one under their belt before they came here. But he said it's been a long time in practice, but without getting to a game from November 15th, so they really were anxious to play.
Well, Little John just had to heave it up from half court. The shot clock winding down.
His brother was a heck of a player for Ludden.
Yeah, I remember that name.
Yep.
Brother Jared.
Jared, yes.
Graduated 2009. 3-year starter for the Gaelic Knights. Cameron, just a junior. Second year on the varsity. Russo, top of the key. Got the roll, and they cut Ludden's lead in half.
one-on-one, a guy who can create for himself. He's probably the best on the team at that, Charlie Russo. The ability to be able to, take care of himself in a situation like that.
Ben Hackett shuffled the feet a bit as he spun around Russo. Call for the travel, so CBA now. Have to make it a one-possession game here. Inside to Haynes, he's doubled immediately. Gets it back, scores, plus the foul.
Yeah, you can see the size of him, and it's just still a learning process for him. Watch when he goes up now. He sort of brings the ball down. Watch the pass into him, down in there and then up instead of holding it up high and going right over the front of the rim. Something that each day, each week he's going to get much better at. The more chances he gets.
6'2" as a freshman. He grew 2 inches since last year. 6'9" last year as a junior. Now a legitimate 6'11". And he's doing a pretty good job keeping up with it weight-wise as well.
Yeah, it's hard to grow, when you grow that fast. I would imagine the coordination effect, and the ability to keep your skill level up. And Buddy says he's pretty skilled, so that's great. It's just repetition. It's all it is to get better.
Look at him next to Nick Walker.
You see, now that's the thing you got to teach big guys. You don't have to stay an arm length from the guy that small. You can be 3 feet away from him and still bother your shot. So there's no need to be that close to a guy that far from the basket when you're that tall.
Other than intimidation, perhaps.
Well, you'd almost want to goad him into taking that shot, get off him 3 or 4 feet, and then get it. You can still get it.
Turns and faces. Wild shot off the backboard from Haynes. Ben Hackett dumps it inside. Kegler, nice hands. Fouled hard to the floor. Dan Kegler helped up though by Haynes. Nice sportsmanship. Back to the free throw line.
He's so quick. Watch when the ball gets inside to Kegler, how fast he is to get it. Boom. Up. Had to gather it first. Fumbled it, and that caused it. Slowed him down just a little bit, but he's got those quick springs where he can react. Sometimes if it's a smaller guy on him, he's getting up and over him before the defender can react. But you saw, though, again, as we saw earlier on the replay, that Haynes was there. His hands weren't far away. He got there just a little too late, but he's, as long as he's there making an effort, you get in the shooter, you get in the offensive guy's mind, you get in their heads a little bit, and you're going to make them rush.
He's got 8 of the 10 for Ludden, 8 points, 4 rebounds in the first quarter for Kegler. Under a minute to go here. Tapped away out front. Walker took it away. Finds Hackett on the break. Hackett scores. Just explodes to the rim.
Ludden with good defensive pressure is bothering CBA. And they've had to work real hard, like right there. You get help defense coming in. And a little miscommunication on that one.
And not touched by Ludden, so over and back the call is Luke Ellingworth. Trying to send it back out top, and
Buddy's not real happy. But good hustle by Russo there, get back. He knew as soon as he's going to get the ball, it's going to be a whistle, but for the over and back. But you don't let the Ludden kids get the ball and get a shot off. Make them work for it here in a half-court set.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Ludden scored the first 8 points. Chance to restore the lead here. At the horn, but it's off. Little John couldn't quite get it there, and it's a 6-point Ludden lead after 1 quarter. Second quarter of the 87th edition of the Holy War underway here at the Carrier Dome. Glad you're with us tonight. Full day of high school basketball here on Time Warner Cable Sports. A quadruple header in the High School Basketball Holiday Classic 2011 edition. All started at 1 o'clock. And this is game 4 as Kegler's held. And a foul called on Billy Burns. Stats through the first quarter.
Neither team shooting real well. And CBA with the big guy getting out rebounded 10-3, and Ludden has definitely got up and down the court faster on the fast break point 6. But they've run the floor a lot better than CBA. CBA needs a shot in the arm offensively. They need to get something going at this point because we both kind of noticed it just look a little tentative on offense, a little unsure of themselves, and it could be just a confidence thing. If they can just knock down a few, those things go in spurts.
Well, and you mentioned the confidence maybe in question a little bit after getting worked over last night at Henninger. At least a 30-point loss there, and let's see if CBA can get itself on solid ground. I think the one thing at least Ludden has is that go-to guy. They can go to Kegler every time down the floor, and CBA at this point doesn't seem to have that guy.
Exactly.
Or they don't know who it is yet. Oh, look out.
He's too hard to handle, and the best thing CBA's got going for him is the fact that Haynes is lurking somewhere, getting the hand up in the shot, up in the arc, and maybe bothering him a little bit, but you can't match Haynes up with him because he's too quick for him.
Boy, Walker got Haynes up in the air, and Haynes landed on his back, and Walker gets called for the travel. Doesn't seem fair.
It's a lucky call for Haynes. See Ludden in there man-to-man.
Explosive move to the hoop by Aaron Morgan. And he's called for the offensive foul.
Well, he makes a good move and the weak side help comes over. Nick Walker steps in there and takes it. And Aaron Morgan's pretty quick, so you got to be either anticipate real well or get there in a hurry to get him.
There's opposing number 3 on the other end, Antoine Montgomery. It's sent to the court. And a 1-and-1 already. CBA with 18 fouls, just 2 for Ludden here in the half. 6:52 left.
We talked a little about it in the first game too. This early in the season, your offense isn't really settled yet. But either you don't have a lot of your sets in, or a lot of your different variations, defensive variations. Most teams with main stock is man-to-man, and then the second thing is the 2-3 zone, right? So almost everybody's got those two in. So if those two things aren't working, you either launch something like a maiden voyage right in a game that you never even did in practice, or you just stick with the well and try to get better at the ones you know. It's, you're limited, I'm saying, at this point.
Bruner the near steal on the far sideline. Montgomery out top, shuffle the feet. Boy, both teams having a hard time
getting started
with that right there.
Yeah.
Their feet are getting started before the ball goes down, and that's bringing the whistle.
Well, like I said, you're running your offense, and in January or February you run your offense, you're not thinking, you're just automatically doing it. But now you might be thinking before you do something like, am I supposed to go left or right? Am I supposed to cut? While you're doing it, you're not comfortable. You're robotic.
Well, they get it inside of Haynes. That's an easy 2 for Dillon.
That's an easy offensive play. If you can dump it down there and get him isolated, why not?
Every time.
Yeah.
Kegler getting set to check back in.
CBA with a little zone trap pressure there. Got the turnover.
Walker took it away. His second steal here in the first half.
Yep. Burns got the ball stripped, then got a little angry and went and hacked away. A little frustration, turning the ball over, wanting to get it right back.
And another 1-on-1 shooting situation. Nick Walker, co-captain, 6'1" senior. Full in for Burns for CBA. Walker missed the second.
You know, nobody hates it more than the officials to get into that bonus this early in the game or in the first half. They just don't like to see that. They don't want to blow the whistle, but you know, if it's there, you got to do it.
Russo trying to go inside. That one tapped away by Walzer. And now Russo forces the return favor as Ludden gives it right back. Kegler checking in. Yep.
How could I forget that? No.
And they'll be up here at the Dome actually next year.
Aren't they here for basketball?
They are, yep.
And he's probably going to be on break, so maybe he'll be here to watch his team play.
Yeah, who's he root for?
Well, I think it depends on who's watching. His friends from Syracuse or his fellow Tulane Green Wave teammates.
There we go. Russo dumps in two. Nice little play drawn up in the timeout by Buddy Waklinski, and the brothers have just gotten themselves another turnovers. Kyle Hawk, who checked in for Antoine Montgomery. A couple of turnovers, and he'll go take a seat next to Pat Donnelly. Not where he wants to sit. That's where Pat wants him to sit. Cameron Littlejohn back on the floor.
And you know the turnover battle there. You see it's even at 9, and you know, give CBA credit. They got out to a real slow start, but here they're hanging in. They're playing aggressive defense, and they're forcing CBA into turnovers and kind of bringing them down with them a little bit right now to keep the game even.
Aggressive move here by Russo. Blocking foul called on Littlejohn, so Charlie, just a sophomore, but you know, Buddy Waklinski kind of looking at him as the leader, the guy who has the most experience.
He's got good quickness and he's got good awareness. He's a hard kid to draw a charge on because he can control himself in the air and move a little bit. You saw Littlejohn was in there, but he just didn't have the good angle. And at the last minute, he reacted to Russo's move to the side to try and draw the contact. Not going to get it.
Boy, Hackett really weaved in between 3 or 4 brothers, got to the basket but couldn't finish. And now CBA a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession. Russo feeling it. Front rim.
Fade away. Look, he didn't look like he was quite up on the balls of his feet where he had good control on that jump shot.
Rogers' aggressive take to the basket, draws the foul. It'll be 2 shots, but not a shooting foul. It's the 10th team foul, though, against CBA.
Here's what we said Ludden likes to do, get out and run the break. And you see Rogers right there. He just not afraid of the big guy, just sees his spot in the lane, decides he's going to take it right in there and draw contact. Got his 2 shots.
All-league quarterback. His dad, Mike Rogers, was his coach on the football field this past fall and also a basketball assistant.
And Mike coached the girls at Ludden for years. I'm not sure how many.
I think Pat Donnelly loves most about Matt Rogers is his work ethic. You know, one of your strongest players is also your hardest worker. Always a plus for any coach they can point to and say, do what he does. Couple of free throws, pushing it back to 4.
Aren't coaches' sons always like that, though? I mean, does it seem that way?
Right?
You know it, yeah. It seems, that CBA is a little more content to be a half-court offense team, take their time a little more. And so far, Ludden is quicker to the basket. They like their break opportunities. They like to get out and run and take it to the hole. What's this, a 2-3 with the big guy at the foul line?
Yeah.
Almost like a 2-1-2. Yeah.
That was Aaron Morgan last time, pulling CBA back within 2. Kegler inside, blocked from behind. Reload by Walzer, though.
Well, the big guy did his job. He just couldn't react to the miss, bounce him back out. That's where the rest of the guys on the defense of CBA got to rotate in, clog out the middle, and help out. You can't just depend on your big guy to block the shots and do it and get the rebound.
Zach Walzer's dad, Jim, a former Ludden player as well. With the follow there, Hackett. Walzer trying to follow that one, but it was cleared by Morgan.
His dad broke my heart, Jim Walzer, a few times when I was coaching Fowler. Good outside shooter. Big scorer for Jerry Wilcox, actually, when Jerry was coaching at Ludden.
And foul called on this end here. It's just the 3rd team foul against Ludden here, the first half. Just under 3 minutes to go.
They're a very good defensive team, guys.
I've always thought you got a big guy as big as Haynes. Just go stand right by the rim and just throw it up in the air to him. Just don't pick out there. Go right to the rim. The old out of bounds lob play right to him.
He does have a little bit of range shooting, but yeah, I agree. You'd rather have him inside than out the three-point arc. And resulting turnover off the hands of Russo.
And CBA, who said that with Bailey, especially, they got off to a fast start on the foul list there, but you know, I think it's had an effect on Ludden though, because they slowed him down offensively.
Tough pass from Rogers. Last touch by CBA though, so Ludden keeps it.
It's just, as you said earlier, it's a struggle. Nothing is coming easy. Not any shot. Right there. That's at least his three, and probably a couple more almosts.
Dylan Haynes picking up another swat here is Little John.
See, that's what I mean by a guy that big with a little guy. You don't have to body him, because when you body him, what happens is you get nailed for the foul. If you can leave that space, or you can still intimidate him.
Rogers lost the dribble. Now the ball knocked out of bounds by the Knights. Russo, rather, lost the dribble. Heading down court for CBA. They'll have it, though.
There it is. There's the old lob play. I knew they were going to see one of them eventually. See, they set us up for that one last time. The last time
maybe they heard you.
No, that's a setup play by Buddy Design. One time you pop out, and then the other variation is you look like you're going to pop out, and you roll across the middle, and you throw it to them. Because if you try to run that play every time, they get wise to it a little bit.
Yeah. Walzer picks up the offensive foul, backing in, and Morgan took the charge.
A little bit of a little acting job there, but Walzer did stick his shoulder into him. Anytime you angle your body, turn your shoulder down or extend your elbow out, something that's not natural movement, it's going to get called on you.
Handoff from Haynes and an offensive foul the other way, and that was Morgan picking up the charge. Rogers draws the foul.
Let's see if he's got position in this one, because he's very willing to do this all the time.
A little tippy toe there.
It looked like he just moved in just a little bit at the end, didn't it?
3 fouls on Morgan. He and Bailey with 3. And now here's a foul on Little John. Well, the turnovers coming fast and furious here in the Holy War. Brothers, after spotting Ludden, an 8-point lead out of the gate, have not been able to come back to tie as of yet. They've had several opportunities.
Well, the clean plays have been few and far between, because every finish, every dribble, every pass seems to be like there's hands in on it, and they're just struggling to keep from turning it over, because the defensive pressure is right there the whole time.
Haynes calls for it. Ball's knocked out of bounds by Kegler. 1:26 left in the half.
I'm glad we're not keeping a stat sheet on deflections or dribbles that have been knocked away, because it would be real high. Turn this way. There you go. And get the foul.
Turns right into Hackett, tried to strip it, and the sophomore fouled him. And that is the 7th.
Not quite the lob play from underneath, but you toss it right into your big guy. And again, if he doesn't bring that ball down to his waist or his thighs, the little guy can't get his hands on it. That's something that it takes time, especially like you say. He was 6'2", as a freshman.
Yep.
So he's only had this great height advantage for a couple of years. It's hard to learn the big man skills when you haven't always been this big guy.
Got some schools looking at him though. Colgate, Siena, Marist, Bucknell, St. Bonaventure. A lot of Division I schools. You can't teach or coach 6'11".
Exactly.
And he still may be growing.
You get into a college program as well, you get bigger, you get stronger, and they work you so many more hours. You get the coaching staffs are bigger, they get so much more time to work on kids, where high school coaches don't have that kind of time to work year-round on basketball players.
Jake Foll drops in another bucket, and we are tied at 17. So
there you
finally
go.
The brothers have pulled even. And Pat Donnelly wants time to talk about it. 45.1 left in the first half.
Looks, score-wise, looks more like a Ludden CBA football game, maybe.
Yeah, right.
17 all at halftime. Nice behind the back by Russo. He's got quick hands. A little pop out, nice finish.
Jake Foll, a wide receiver on the CBA football team. And McPherson, strong inside presence. 6'4", 6'5", and a guy that, really could fill the shoes of Greg Thompson. Really kind of the same kind of player. Not a superstar, but a role player who could give them a little more inside presence along with Haynes.
He's Ivy League caliber, isn't he? Wasn't there talk last year about him thinking Ivy League football? Or
oh, yeah. Yep.
Is there any choices out there?
Yeah. He was mentioning the likes of, some of the, I think he said Princeton was on his radar, but he hasn't made up his mind on that yet. And taken away, Hackett at midcourt. Hackett throws it down. And Ludden the lead back with 10 seconds left in the half.
Did you see how he looked up back behind him to his left? That was the clearance that he needed for the dunk. If someone was going to come, then he was going to lay it in, I think. But as long as no one was coming up on his left side,
you're okay with it then?
That gave him the okay. I mean, that's smart play.
You sure he wasn't looking back at you?
I'm on the other side of him.
Okay, I see.
He could have been looking back at Donnelly.
That's right.
That wasn't.
Okay?
He did look in the direction of the Ludden bench.
Here's Jake Wilcox at the free throw line with 3.3 left. Chance to tie it up again. Missed the front end though. Foll the rebound, follow, and it goes down as time expires. Jake Foll sneaks inside, puts it back, and we are all tied at the half. And Pat Donnelly, a hard time getting up after that one.
I wouldn't want to be the kid
just because of age.
I wouldn't want to be the kid that didn't box out and going into that halftime talk.
Might hear about it. 19 apiece. Halftime of the Holy War, 19 apiece. Ludden took an early 8-0 lead, and the brothers tying it up as the first half expired. Here's some of the highlights from that first half. Matt Rogers 2+ the foul. That was part of that 8-0 run to start the game, but back came the brothers. Jake Foll, a kind of an unsung hero. Ben Hackett finishing on that one for Ludden. The fast break point's working. Dylan Haynes, somewhat held in check, but
yeah, Haynes. You get him the ball that close, and it's a dead sure thing. Ludden's a young team. We talked about that before, and the young kids are just going to get better all the time. But right now, for them, it's for all the young kids, both on CBA and Ludden. This is maybe their first Ludden CBA game, and especially in the Dome, a nice way to do it. But I won't say the game has been sloppy, but it's been, like I said, as you can see right there, it's been a struggle. There's been a lot of scrums and going after the ball and tough defense.
And there's the follow shot right at the first half buzzer as Foll completed the comeback for CBA to tie things up at 19 heading to the final two quarters. 19 apiece. Boy, the field goal percentage vastly different.
Yeah, well, Ludden's missed a lot of point-blank shots inside and then got the rebound, had to shoot again. CBA, on the other hand, maybe which make that statistic look like that a little bit, had a little harder time. Like I said, there's been an awful lot of struggles just to get set and get a shot off. So let's see if they can't round out some of those rough corners.
Morgan had to change the shot in mid-play with Kegler flying out at him. Well, the brothers' first chance for the lead comes up empty. Kegler, 2 tries to grab his own miss. Couldn't quite corral that rebound, but
you saw the example right there. We're talking.